With the objective of integrating the extant reporting structures of various types of foreign investment in India, the Reserve Bank of India has introduced a single master form, SMF, subsumming all the existing reports. The single master form can be accessed through the online application called FIRMS by visiting https://firms.rbi.org.in. A prerequisite for reporting on single master form is to register entity on Entity Master. Let's look at the entity registration process on FIRMS portal. There are two main steps for entity registration on the FIRMS portal. First, registration of entity user, and second, creation of entity master by the entity user. Entities are required to register themselves and provide data of all foreign investments received, irrespective of the regulatory reporting to the Reserve Bank. An entity user is a person authorized by the entity for registering it in the entity master. The entity user would be the sole person authorized to add or update the foreign investment details of an entity in the entity master and is fully responsible for the data entered. One entity can have only one entity user. If an entity wishes to change the entity user, it may contact the RBI help desk at fedsupport@rbi.org.in. Prior to initiating entity user registration, the duly filled in and signed entity user authorization letter needs to be in place. An authorized letter in the prescribed format on letterhead of the entity is to be uploaded on the registration page along with self-attested copy of PAN of person proposed to be authorized as an entity user. The format of authorization letter is available in the entity user manual, which can be accessed from the FIRMS portal. The name, PAN and specimen signature of the authorized representative are to be provided in the authorization letter along with name, PAN and CIN/LLPIN of the entity. The letter is further required to be authorized by Managing Director or the Director or the Company Secretary or the designated partner in case of LLP. Once the authority letter is ready, the process of entity user registration can be started. To begin the process, first visit https://firms.rbi.org.in. Then click on Registration Form for new entity user. Next, a pop-up box showing entity user registration form will open. Now, fill all the details in the entity user registration form. Please note, user must enter own PAN and not the PAN of company. Fill in CIN/LLPIN. If company does not have CIN, it may fill dummy CIN number. Then, select Regional Office of RBI, under whose jurisdiction the registered office of the entity falls. Upload the duly signed and stamped authority letter along with self-attested copy of PAN of entity user in PDF format. Click on the Submit button after filling all the details. The message "Record saved successfully" will pop up. Authority letter submitted by the entity user will then be verified by RBI. Once request is approved by RBI, the user will receive username and password on their registered email ID. Entity user may log in with username and password as provided in the email from RBI and click on Login. The user would be directed to change his or her password upon first login. On successful login post change of password, the entity user registration process is complete. Now let us follow the steps for creation of entity by the entity user. Begin by first visiting https://firms.rbi.org.in. Enter username and new password. On successful login, the home page is displayed. After that, click on the top left option button to open menu. Then, click on the Master Setup under menu. Next, click on Entity Master, followed by Add button. The entity details page is displayed. Few details are auto-populated. Along with mandatory fields, there is an option to enter RBI registration number of earlier allotments if any. Make selection yes or no as applicable. Under Particulars tab, enter all mandatory fields. Please add the PIN code nearest to your area in case the PIN code specific to your area is not displayed. Now, click on Foreign Investment in Company or LLP tab and enter details. An entity is expected to provide details of all foreign investments, including indirect foreign investments received by it. If your entity is a company, then fully diluted basis means the total number of shares that would be outstanding if all possible sources of conversion are exercised. If a startup company has issued convertible notes, the same shall not be included in the paid-up capital on fully diluted basis. If your entity is a LLP, please enter total capital contribution in LLP in rupees. Then click on Foreign Investment Info tab and enter details. After all the issues and transfers have been added, user will have to click the declaration checkbox to enable submission of the entity master. Only after the declaration is checked, the entity user can submit the details. No email acknowledgement would be sent for the submission in the entity master. Once the details of the company have been submitted successfully, the process of entity creation on Entity Master is complete and details will be available on the Entity Master page. The entity can now commence with the process of business user registration on single master form.